Hey everybody, today we finally got the College Football 25 Dynasty Deep Dive trailer, and honestly, there is so much to unpack in this trailer, and there's even more information in the blog post that they posted over on the EA website. But I'm just so excited to break this down with y'all today, and I'm so excited for College Football 25 as we're only about 2 weeks away now. And right here, I think this is pretty awesome. This main menu screen is looks awesome. I wonder if we'll be able to customize it or based on the team that we affiliate with. So if I wanted to pick Texas, I'd have a Texas background, or if it boots up differently every time we boot up the game. But I love this background. It's so simple and it's so clean, and having the college affiliations, it honestly makes it even better. But as we can see, we have Ultimate Team, Road to the CFP, and Dynasty, and I'm so excited to finally get my hands on the game. And right here, we get some of the teams that we're be able to pick. Obviously, there's almost every Group of Five and Power Five team, but me personally, I know I already know what team I'm gonna pick to start off my dynasty, and I can't wait. But in they cover the 12 team playoff, the recruiting board, which is so much stuff, the transfer portal and customization options, but we'll mainly focus on recruiting and the transfer portal, and not so much on the customization options. And then right here, they go over the 12 team playoff. The 12 team playoff is honestly pretty cool because we haven't seen the 12 team playoff in real life yet. So we'll be able to experience the 12 team playoff before it even happens in real life, and we'll be able to have teams in the 12 team playoff that have never even actually made the playoff in general, even before when it was just a 14 playoff. And we might be able to have like teams like such as Toledo or Troy in the playoff, or other Power Five teams that have never made the playoff. But I know sometime in December or January, somebody's gonna simulate who's gonna win the national championship using the Dynasty mode. But it's gonna be pretty awesome to be playing in the playoff. And then right here we have Michigan versus Georgia in the national championship game, and then Georgia throws a dot to the defense, and Michigan ends up winning the national championship. So shout out to the Wolverines on that one. And then we have recruiting. There is so much stuff to go over in recruiting because, and I'm so appreciative that they went so in detail on what it is to be able to recruit in today's day and age, and how we'll be able to recruit in the game. And that's honestly pretty awesome that they give us so much ability and flexibility on how we could go about recruiting a player. And right here we can see on our look at our depth chart on what we may need in our on our team, because as we know, we do have seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, and it's gonna be determined depending on what we need. We gotta recruit the high school ranks and recruit certain positions. Otherwise, we're gonna have to use the transfer portal to fill those positions at the end of the season. And then right here is when it kind of gets very interesting, because we kind of get a look at the recruiting board. And as for example, this one right here, we could see that this is a top 8 player in the state of Texas, and I'm assuming also in the entire country, if it's not just the state of Texas. And we could see that we haven't necessarily offered this player, but he's also a 4-star prospect. So this player may be a player that we're highly targeting and coveting. And then we could, as we keep moving forward to the list, we could see these are the players that are suggested to us as a need for our team. Otherwise, we may have to jump into the transfer portal and recruit players out of the transfer portal. But we could also see other details such as like their hometown, their tendencies such as man to man, and all the height and weight and classification in high school. And then right here we can see the influence of the schools, and we can see our where we rank on this influence. But as we progress throughout the off season and the season, we could influence our way to the top and be this recruit's #1 prospect. And we also have the scouting report on it to see if this recruit or prospect matches our team and what we're looking for, which is pretty unique that we could single out and cherry pick certain recruits. And then right here is very important, because these are the motivations for recruits to actually sign and commit to our school. And there's no telling how many motivating factors this recruit may need in order for them to commit to our school. But the more green boxes that we have on the recruit side, the more likelihood is that they will sign with us. And we can see on the right hand side of the screen, we could see our grade for that certain motivating factor for that recruit. And depending on the school, those grades may be higher or lower depending if they're a Power Five or a Group of Five program. But it's also very cool to see other stuff that goes in with recruiting, such as being able to DM them or hanging out with their family or such. But right here we have the deal breakers. The deal breakers carry on with a recruit from their high school days all the way through college, whether they go pro, graduate, or we dismiss them from the program. And right here, this deal breaker right here is playing time, and it's important for us to keep our word. Otherwise, they are very prone to enter the transfer portal. And then right here, start meeting certain motivations increase your likelihood of landing that recruit, such as like being able to contacting the recruit's family. That influences the recruit to commit to our program even more. And then right here, funny enough, the recruit could actually lock us out, and basically they're not interested in us recruiting them anymore, which is pretty cool that they have that ability. And it's just up to us to keep on the recruiting trail and trying to get them to come to us. And then right here's an example that they showcased to us. As we can see, Poindexter, entering they're considering entering the transfer portal, and we could try to persuade them because their motivating factor is the playing style. And if we could persuade them, they could either come back, which right here is a success, or they could try their luck and go on to better pastures, greener pastures. And then right here shows the top schools of a recruit whenever they're releasing their list, and it's up to us to maintain, to be on at the top of the list, or at least be in the top 3, because throughout the season they narrow down their list even more from the top 7 to top 5 to top 3, and then ultimately they recruit. And then there's a different kind of pitches that we could do to the recruit, which is either a soft sell, which is not necessarily selling it completely on the program, which can backfire, and we could also do hard sells, which meaning we want them very much at our program. And then throughout the course of the season, playing the games very much influences the outcome of certain recruits, because you want to win, and the more you win, your likelihood is to of getting that recruit is increases, because the more you win, the more you influence that recruit to come to your school, and the more better that you're doing throughout the season, the more you climb up the ranks, as we can see right here. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, the recruit does have their top schools, and it's up to us to maintain ourselves in those top schools. Otherwise, we may be cut from their list, and they may no longer be interested in us or coming to our school anymore. But it's a very dynamic feature that both the recruits and the coaches have control of where they want to go, or if they want to continue recruiting that recruit. And then we could also sway the recruits to come back our way if they're potentially considering other schools to go to. But that's one way where we could potentially sell the recruits for them to come to our school. But one of the biggest ways to impact the recruiting is obviously by winning games. The more you win games and the more prestigious the game, the more you gain influence over that recruit. But if you lose, you could also like ruin your chances of getting that recruit. But it also helps a lot whenever you pair recruits together for that weekend. So if there's a wide receiver visiting that weekend along with a quarterback, it really helps it with them. And then right here we have the transfer portal. With the transfer portal, we have to work really fast, because the transfer portal is only open for a certain amount of time, and those players are coming in and out, and they commit more quickly than high school recruits, because with the high school recruits we have the whole off season, but the transfer players, we only have about a week or so after championship weekend until the playoffs start, and then those transfers start committing to schools. And if we can't fill our roster holes for the next year, we kind of just have to rely on our high school recruiting. But just like high school recruits, transfers also have star ratings. Depending on the type of transfer, they have a higher star rating. But right here we have customizations options. The customization options to me aren't necessarily as important, but to some others it may be very important, such as being able to switch to conferences or go back to conferences that used to be before realignment, because I know some people are very against realignment. So you could actually bring back the Pac-12 and put all the Pac-12s back where they belong, or even bring back the Southwest Conference or another conference that basically died in realignment in previous years. But again, right here we have team selection, and you could go with a power 5 team if you want, whether it be Wake Forest or a USC or a Texas Tech. But in my opinion, you won't get as near the enjoyment if you picked a group of 5 team. And then right here, one of the cool things that they did add is that we could go back to divisions. We could insert divisions in our conference if we wanted to, and then we could also change the venue of where the championship is played. But Again, we have more options here for like schools that we could pick for our dynasty, but again, I think it's more, you'll get more enjoyment out of Dynasty if you go with a different team that may not be a powerhouse already made team, such as if you would go with a New Mexico or Louisiana, such as the teams that are currently being showcased, because I feel like you have more fun going through the grind as opposed to, again, having already a set made team. And then right here we have the head coach. The head coach right here is has some very important factors. The most important factors are obviously the playbooks, the offense and the defensive playbooks, but more importantly, the most important part of this part is the pipeline. The pipeline is where you'll be doing your most of your recruiting, and where I would assume you would get most of your high school recruits from. So it's very important to already have that pipeline set up and making sure you go back to it. And then right here we have what kind of coach that you want to be whenever you start up your dynasty. You could either be a head coach, an offensive coordinator, or a defensive coordinator. In my opinion, most people should be an offensive coordinator just to have that fun of playing on offense as opposed to being a defensive coordinator. You could still be a defensive coordinator, it's just going to be a little bit more difficult. And most people just like to control the quarterback, and as opposed to, I don't know, a safety or a linebacker. And then right here it's pretty important. Selecting the your backstory is very important in my opinion. I'm gonna go with recruiter, and I think most people should go with recruiter. And if not recruiter, they should go with tactician and then motivator. Those are the how I would rank these. Just because if you're able to recruit, very good, you'll be able to get higher caliber players and then escalate the ranks quickly. And but you could also do that with tactician if you're very good on schemes and stuff. I just don't really see the point of motivator right now. I think recruiter is the best one to go with for the backstory. Depending on the backstory that you pick is going to determine the what perks that you're able to get, because certain backstories unlock other perks, like this one right here. You could get scheme guru, which if you upgrade it all the way up to level 4, you could increase your short and medium accuracy, which depending on the certain type of game or environment, you may need that accuracy, or you may need those other boosts depending on those other perks. Still need to figure out what those other perks may be, but they may be beneficial down the line whenever you're in a playoff game or something. And then the coaching carousel is in essence how you're going to go about climbing the coaching ranks from being a coordinator to eventually becoming a head coach. And then right here you determine like the salary contract of how long you're going to be at that school, or if you're a head coach or offensive or defensive coordinator. But one thing to know about being a head coach is that you're also very in charge of the coordinators. But the one downside about being a head coach is that you can't determine your coordinators like perks that they receive. They pick that on their own, and then as you can see here, we could see the if you're on the hot seat, or what your job stability and how you're doing overall. But as I was saying, your coordinators don't necessarily, they pick their own perks, which is kind of a downside because you may be wanting a different perk as opposed to one perk. And as of now, we don't know if we could reset the perks that these coordinators could get, but I wish we could pick those. But otherwise, it's cool if that the coordinators pick them themselves, and then they eventually go on to be head coaches themselves in our own dynasty. And obviously, for us to be able to get these perks, we have to play the game, and then through the game meet objectives and get XP. And then the more XP we get and completing the objectives, we're able to upgrade our coaches, our head coach, and unlock better perks, and then upgrade those perks so we could have a better advantage in the game. But yeah, this was a very big information drop from EA, and honestly let us know a whole lot more of what we could expect from Dynasty this year. And I'm very excited to play Dynasty this year because as I mentioned earlier, I'm excited to being able to play online dynasties with my friends and being able to get in recruiting battles. And I just can't wait to get into this game already and start playing it, because it's going to be a fun year, and it's only going to get me more into college football for me personally. But if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button as I look to grow this channel throughout the college football season. Hook 'em.